Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Aranda here, my best life Paraguay. And today we are going to be checking out by the Remanso Bridge. It's the older bridge. The newer one is Puente Héroes del Chaco. Um, so me and Aaron, when he was here, and his pops, Polo, and our lawyer, we check out this area down by the bridge, and then we do a hike to check out this abandoned shipwreck, right, which is popping up on the map here. So this is a map of where we're going to be starting at number one, and then where we're going to be heading to. And it's quite the hike, it's quite the journey, right? And yeah, then I'll be getting into a little bit more about my time here in Paraguay, the last 300 days plus. So this is the shipwrecked boat, El Buque Blas Garay. Um, it's a historical monument, I guess now, not on purpose, but they never moved it since 1996. So here's a picture of Polo, Aaron's pops here, in front of Puente Remanso. And Remanso is the city, if you saw on the map, and the other side it's Remancito. And yeah, so here's two more photos of the shipwreck boat. It's been there almost my entire lifetime, and yeah, they just kept it there. I think they ran out of financing or whatever to be able to do something with it, so they literally just left it here. It's crazy. It's Paraguay, whatever. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna start off with my story. I know that a lot of you are new to the channel. Over two-thirds of you. So now we're gonna get into the footage here, and this is where we start to walk around the area right after we just parked, and we'll be walking around the river's edge all the way to under the bridge, and then over to where the shipwreck is. Okay. Anyways, so my last 300 plus days in Paraguay, about 307, 308 at this point now. But man, it's been quite the journey. Really, truly, it has been. And forgive me, I'm gonna put these on. I've been staring at the screen all day. But yeah, it's been quite the journey, you guys. And um, I'm just gonna back up just in case you guys don't know my full story. But I'm Ryan Aranda. I was adopted from Paraguay here at a year and a half years old, nearly 2 years old, and I grew up in the States, right? And then I came to Paraguay to meet my biological family after doing an investigation in 2012, so 13 years ago. Okay, and I've been visiting every single year since, and and then I fell in love with the country, got to know my family, and decided to, after a series of events, which I'll get into, decided to live here, right? So as we check out this footage of the Rio Paraguay and the bridge, and as we walk around, I'll just keep going. Some lessons I've learned, right? And just, I don't know, a little bit of, I guess, just my thoughts about you know my time here, and also just my journey in general. Okay, so I know my story is incredibly unique, and I get reminded of that when I still introduce myself to people. I mean, most expats know me through my channel, right? So they some of them kind of know my background, but a lot still don't because they haven't fully watched my videos, which is fine. But if you do want to know more about my backstory in detail, you can check out past videos. But it is incredibly unique, man. And so when I meet locals here, they really like that. I'm that. I was that younger man that came back to meet his roots, to meet his family, and because we're a family-oriented society, they love that, right? They love that I did that, right? And so, over the last 13 plus years, since I came here the first time by myself, uh, I had to deal with a lot, right? But even before all that, even in my youth, right, going back actually all the way to my infancy, because of my first nearly 2 years of my life having been born in the hospital, left at the hospital, grown up by nuns in a tiny little orphanage for infant babies. Um, because I didn't have that biological but motherly love for the first year and a half, it affected me later on, right? Psychologically, etc. And so I dealt with that and I carried it with me. And there's a lot of strange psychological things that I would do. It didn't really make sense until you kind of piece things together of kind of being traumatized as an infant, right? So I carried a lot of that with me in life, but honestly, I even carry that some of that stuff with me through adulthood. Um, and I bring that up just to remind myself of where I've been because a lot of people point to me, or they may not know the whole story of my backstory. They'll kind of group me in with other travelers or whoever who travel around for degenerate purposes, etc. But no, man, I came here to Paraguay to meet my family before anything else. Before I honestly even considered moving here, right? Even though I have been here almost a year, shy of a year. Uh, Later in life, like a series of events, including a breakup I had after a longer term relationship, yeah, that set certain things into motion in the last couple of years. But I always had it in my heart to move here. I just thought it would be much later in life, after I would get well established in the States. But as we know, the States has been economically impossible to achieve certain levels, to afford a house, for example, to afford pretty much anything, right? Off of off of an average or above average salary, which I had right before coming here, and I didn't want to be in the rat race anymore. I was honestly just really getting sick of it. Um, I didn't want to achieve these impossible feats, and also more likely than not pursue another relationship that was going to end not well, right? Statistically, that's how it plays out in Western countries, especially the States. So I just didn't want to go down that path again. Okay. Anyways, putting back to the B-roll here, this is where we're gonna head down the hill and then start going down by the coastline, and we're gonna really dig into this tall grass to get to where we need to be. So hopefully you guys can enjoy the the B-roll here while I keep going. But yeah, so going back to the way I'm kind of viewed down here, at least by locals in my family, because I kind of have that story of coming back, I am more accepted. You know what I mean? And it's been a great thing. But that's not to say that it hasn't come with a lot of personal and financial and time sacrifices. Excuse me, my my throat kind of hurts a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna get through this. But you know, so I'm gonna go back to a certain. I got a couple notes here about a few family members, what they've told me in life that really stuck with me. Right, and number one thing that I'm gonna start with is what my dad told me, and I hate that I don't remember the exact context, but when I was a younger man, he told me at one point that because we used to bond over movies, right? Over Spider-Man in particular at this one point. But he told me, with great power comes great responsibility. Now, at that point in my life, when I was in college, or maybe it was before college, right? But it only meant so much, you know. I didn't really know what I would use with that phrase, right? It wasn't until I came here to Paraguay that I knew what that meant on a deeper level. Okay. And, you know, once I really started understanding some of the hardships that my family had to go through, especially the younger generation, no fault of their own, was suffering, right? Because of certain decisions that certain parents made that were not the best for them. So, I decided that the moment I was able to, I was gonna help out, right, to make sure that the next generation wasn't gonna be cursed. If I'm gonna be completely honest, yeah, I'll use that word, but you know, I'm not the only abandoned one in my family. All my siblings are to an extent, but even the generation above me, most of us grew up either without a father or without a mother, one of the two, um, or even any of our biological parents, or a grandma had to step up and take care of certain family members. So we we've been cursed for a long time. My family, right? We all come from broken situations. Even unfortunately, even the new generation. So, with whatever I could possibly do to see the next generation well, I always tried to do, right? Because in my eyes, they're innocent. They didn't deserve it, A lot of people have opinions about what I should be doing. Because if you guys don't know, I don't talk to my biological mother. None of her kids do. None of my biological siblings do, right? Now, it's not to say that I do that out of spite or resentfulness. I think that's the word, being resentful. But there's just a series of events that played out in which I'm not able to, right? And so, I know a lot of people who don't understand want me to have this like wonderful relationship with my biological mother down here, but that's all played out. I did meet her my first trip, and I did hash things out and talk to her and tell her I love her and all this stuff. But for me, it's always about the next generation, right? Uh, us and the people above us, they had a lifetime to do right, to figure things out, to make things right with certain people, you know. Um, to find grace, to find um, uh, I don't even know if it's the right word, peace, solace, and what they were gonna do next and how they were gonna treat people. You know, so I decided that man, we got to be different. My generation, me and my cousins and our siblings, and especially the next generation behind us, like we can't be at each other. And so my uncle, I call him my uncle. He's technically my cousin, but I call him my uncle out of respect. But recently he told me two things. The number one thing he said is that me and him are the same, and he's very successful in life. And what he meant by that is we're the same. We had a heart to heart is that he's taken a lot of chances to get where he's at. You know that he had to think outside of what everybody else was doing. While everybody else was making minimum wage, a lot of people were gambling. A lot of people were I don't know, wasting their money on this and that. Like he really dived down into to being an entrepreneur in his own right. You know, and so a lot of people don't understand me doing this YouTube stuff or taking a lot of chances to get ahead in life. For I know that most travelers do, most relocators do, because we all have some form of the same mindset. But there's still a lot of people who don't. There's still a lot of people that say, no, 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 don't make stuff up. Just go with the flow. Do your 9 to 5. Do back in the states. Get a house here, marry within the states. Don't mix up too much internationally and all that. It could be very difficult. It could be very this and that. But the thing is, they don't understand the way that we have to adapt to the world. You know, and so for my uncle to say that was it meant a lot. You know, and the next thing he told me recently was don't be resentful, right? And I don't consider myself to be that resentful of a person. Yeah, I've had my moments, right, with certain family members, etc. But in general, I really don't think I am a resentful person. I try to work things out. I forgive. Even when I have to call people out, and people have called me out over the years, like I don't just hold on to that for the rest of my life and say we can never talk again. I haven't been that kind of person, you know. I may distance myself for a while, and I know that he told me that because of my mother, but I don't resent her. I just can't go searching for her and try to do the same thing I tried to do 13 years ago. I'm moving ahead in life. I can't have certain people that I know who are going to hold me back. You know, that's not the only reason he said it. There's other reasons as well, but in general, what he was trying to also tell me is that because we do have other family members as well who have been resentful, who've caused a lot of friction in our family, right? And he doesn't want to see us as our generation and the generations behind us to carry that friction that was there historically, right? And there's a lot of poverty in my family. There's a lot of hardships. There's a lot of us, like I said, we're from broken situations. So we got to do our very best to get beyond that, right? Um, so yeah, my uncle, he's again, I call him my uncle. He's technically my cousin, but he's a great man, and he's really been a solid pillar of our family. I know that Aaron here on screen and his pops have met my uncle Simon as well. A few others have as well. But he's kind of like the godfather of our family, and you know his kids. And if I'm gonna be honest, he kind of sees that in me, kind of taking a similar role of that in the future. Just because we do agree in union and in the union of our family and keeping us together instead of splitting apart in all these different factions and holding resentful grudges and that kind of thing. Anyway, so one of the things I want to transition into is what my grandma in the States has told me. Now I remember when I was in sixth grade, we did a project, and our teacher told us to go to your grandparents or the eldest in your family and ask them a version of what was the best thing that ever happened to you. It was either what was the best thing that ever happened to you or what made you happiest in life. And the answer that she gave was having grandkids, or once her grandkids were born, right? Or adopted in my case. Um, so I understood that to a point in her time, but I remember what I had followed up. I said, but it wasn't when you had kids. She said, yes, that was wonderful, but what was even better was when I had grandkids, right? And in my younger years, I'm thinking, yeah, but you were a younger woman though. Like you could do more things back then. You and my grandpa were younger, and you were doing more vacations and that kind of stuff. But there's a deeper meaning to what she meant that I understand now. You know, I understand now that she was talking about purpose of life. That a lot of the nonsense that we deal with in life, the especially guys, when we try to go for certain money amounts or job titles or a lot of this stuff that nobody's going to care about on your deathbed, right? What when you get in your older years, you value that you created a solid family, generations behind you who are going to remember you and love you, right? So, my grandma's name is Dolores, and she's a wonderful woman. Um, Loved us unconditionally, and she was great. It's my dad's mom. Um, and so rest in peace, her and Grandpa John. Yeah, so I truly understood it, and a lot of us guys think about legacy, and that is great. Like legacy is great, but a lot of us guys think about that in different ways, right? Whether it's I don't know, whatever. But family legacy really comes down to love. It really comes down to the bonds that you form and then that you continue to foster throughout your life. You know, that's really where it's at. You know, so if my grandma were alive today and she were to see a lot of these trends play out with it was sort of starting to happen a bit, right? With some of the new age feminism movements, etc., about like I don't need no man, uh, family's not important. I just want to focus on career the rest of my life. Her and my mother actually as well. We've talked about this, but they think it's sad when people don't pursue families in life, right? Because they know that yes, it's hard. Obviously, it's hard to have kids. It's not an easy thing to pursue, but it gives you meaning. It gives you joy. It gives you purpose, and gives you something to live for and pass down. You know, and I know that I'm literally going to turn 34 this month in May. But a big goal of mine is to have a family. Now I know that I'm gonna transition into relationships now. I know that I've failed uh, at a couple longer term ones, especially the longest term one, but even some shorter term relationships, right? And yeah, quite a bit of it's my fault. But if I'm going to be completely honest, a lot of it's selfishness on the other end as well. Unwillingness to stick through the hardest moments. And again, this is a trend way beyond myself. This is plays out to the individualism, right, that exists on another level in Western societies. Okay, now I see that individualism creeping up in societies like Paraguay that are more historically traditional and Catholic. Again, we're one of the most Catholic countries in the world per capita. Okay, but so it's starting to creep in, and it has to do with social media and also just honestly the Western individualism. I can do better. It's also access to thousands of people on the internet, thousands of suitors, whether it be Instagram, dating apps, etc. So I see it creeping in here too. But the thing is when I came to Paraguay, it's still one of the last societies that you have a fighting chance to meet more of a traditional minded woman. Now, is there a 0% chance in the States and other Western societies? No. It's not a 0% chance, but it's much less of a chance, right? And that plays out in the numbers as well. When it comes to breakups in general, divorce, all that stuff, right? So it goes beyond me, right? And I started realizing that after I had my breakup, wow, I'm not the only guy going through this. That stuck with this woman, and it failed, right? And this woman even told me that pretty much 2 years later, or a year and a half plus later, that I was really great towards the end. I was a lot to deal with in the beginning. I wasn't perfect in the end, but I improved a lot, right? But she still broke it off, and I'm glad she did because I wouldn't have done all this to get to Paraguay, meet other women. No, I haven't worked out with them. I'm talking to somebody new now, which is good. But even still, it's been more of a pleasant experience, even dating. You know what I mean? And so, last thing I'll say about relationships is I've loved a few girls wholeheartedly, um, truly, in shorter relationships, but also the longest relationship and other ones, a handful, not even a handful. But also, I've also loved out of a feeling of obligation. And if there's younger guys watching this, I've admitted as well that I should have been the one to break off my longest term relationship when I started noticing things going south. I could have avoided a lot of years of nothingness, of, you know, complacency, a lot of years of not accepting that this wasn't going to be the right one, right? Um, Now, I also understand that if you do love someone, you do want to stick in there as well. If you think that you still have enough core values, if you still have a good projection in life yourself, don't throw it off like a lot of people will for the littlest thing. I'm not saying that, but if you start seeing these trends play out, if you start seeing a lack of uh, general respect, you know, then you should be calling it quits. Otherwise, you could carry stuff out. Maybe even a lot of guys even end up marrying the wrong girls as well, who walk all over these guys. I've seen it. I've talked to a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys who have the most craziest horror stories you've ever fucking imagined, who've gotten into marriages with the wrong women because they were just the woman at the time that accepted them and just carried forward with them. A lot of these women are very beautiful too, but a lot of them, very selfish in nature. Not to say that selfishness doesn't play out here; it certainly does. But it's next level in the states when there's so much. Uh, real quick, this is a pretty dangerous path to be walking on. There's all kinds of stuff sticking up, nails and stuff. There's huge areas you can fall into. So this is not a hike for. Uh, just accept that something bad might happen on this hike. Anyways, getting back to it, um, there's a lot of selfishness that plays out in this world, right? And again, it's not just the West; it exists in Latin America, Southeast Asia as well. But it's next level selfishness because there's so much delusion. There's the standards of nowadays are so out of control that and even an above average guy has a very hard time trying to find a match, right? Somebody they can move into the next steps to. Okay. So I'm going to close out that dating part of it. And now I'm going to move into friends, right? I got friends on the screen, Aaron, his dad, Alcides as well. And, when family's not or not able to be present or just not present, or maybe you've lost family members, it's good to have a solid group of friends, man. Here in Paraguay, I have a couple like Aaron and Simon, for example, who are my best friends down here. A few others as well, but one thing that Aaron actually brought up to me recently is that I hope I'm not sharing too much, but a lot of his people can't understand him. A lot of his friends and even family members can't understand him on the level. But then when you start making friends with like-minded people, people who do see the benefits of moving abroad, setting up life abroad, getting residency, setting yourself up for a good retirement, and not struggling like the rest of people, like you get to form even more solid friendships because your goals are aligned, right? And you don't have to have the exact same goals and ambitions, or somebody might want to live in the countryside or at the city. Like it doesn't have to be exact, but the fact that like you're all moving ahead in your certain way, you have a certain respect for each other's journeys, which is a big part of this video, my journey over the last year, but my whole life journey, right? And so it's been an honor to meet certain people like Aaron, his father Polo, my buddy Simon. Go follow Aaron, the Hispanic expat, and Simon as well. Simon in Paraguay, and yeah, and I'll transition that into what you see on the screen here as well. My countrymen, they get out the mud, man. My country. I've talked about this in the last video, but they have a real big love for me, man, and I do for them too. I do for their struggle, our historical struggle, but what people go through even today. Even fishing with your family like that, like those folks, like I guarantee you that they're probably depending on that fish, uh, you know, to throw on the grill later. So I respect their struggle, man. I respect the local struggle. Yeah, I respect the expat struggle, but I certainly respect the local struggle as well of my countrymen, right? Lastly, supporters, you guys are wonderful. You guys are great. Um, we ran out of B-roll here, so I don't got to look at the screen. You guys are truly wonderful. You guys have became my friends. That's how I even met, even Aaron and Simon and a lot of other you guys. Um, and you guys honestly keep me going as well. When you comment in, uh, say you appreciate the channel, it's helped you out in this way or that way. That keeps me going as well, which is why I'm staying up late to do this video, and I want to keep this channel going. Um, Even though I've had a little bit more limited time lately, but um, love you guys. You guys are awesome, really, truly. I don't say that in a light way. You guys are awesome. um, yeah. So I guess just a couple last things, last points I have on the screen here is learn from my mistakes that I've talked about openly on my channel, about my life mistakes, about mistakes I've made with women, certain other mistakes I made down here. You can learn off my quote unquote wins, things that I've done correctly as well. Um, but as much as I learn from you, I learn a lot of the things that you've done right. But if I'm gonna be honest, I learn a lot what not to do when I hear some of your guys' stories, right? Whether you make mistakes here or you've made mistakes in the past, etc. I think that's healthy. I think if you keep an open dialogue and you talk openly, as I do, honestly, about your true life story, and don't just give the Instagram highlight reel. I think we can learn a lot as a community from each other, build bonds. Eventually, I want to start making expat meetups. I know that there are expat meetups that go down now, but I want to make a My Best Life Paraguay expat meetup. I don't know when exactly, but down the line here, like-minded individuals that uh, that we could have a good time together. And you know, anyways, last couple things that really stuck out with me that I've heard lately is wherever you go, there you are. In my case, that means I had certain things I was dealing with in the States, and some of the bad things I brought with me. I didn't want to, but I did. You know what I mean? Psychological stuff, mental stuff, certain things that weren't good for me, etc. I like to think I improved, but not fully, not 100% with a lot of things, right? So that really sticks with me whenever I hear people say any version of that. Wherever you go, there you are. That's why I've analyzed, like, even when I made mistakes with girls here, I'm either rushing stuff. It's not just girls, it's other stuff too. But, you know, that's why you always got to analyze where you're at so you can improve. Okay. And the very last thing that I want to just tell you guys, especially you younger guys, is if you do anything like I'm doing, even if you don't do YouTube or anything, you're going to have a lot of people with a lot of noise, so family, friends, who are going to doubt you, who are going to say, well, what about this? Or what if it's unsafe? Or what if it's this or that? Or but what about this? Or what if Argentina invades Paraguay tomorrow? Or what about this? Or, you gotta you gotta trust in yourself. At the end of the day, you're your last decision maker. You can't have everybody make decisions for you, you know. Um, and that's pretty much it, you guys. But that last point is the most important because you got to trust in yourself. I know that's way easier said than done, especially when you're facing so many changes. And even recently, I've been facing a lot of changes myself, and it's a lot easier than, like I said, having it play out than just saying it. But it's true. Have faith in yourself, have trust in yourself, because you're yourself's best friend at the end of the day. Okay. Anyways, again, I'm Ryan Aranda. This is My Best Life channel, My Best Life Paraguay channel. And hit me up for consultations, you guys. I love talking to you guys, really, truly. I got fair pricing. You guys can check out the information down below in the description. Hit me up. Otherwise, besides that, take care of yourselves, you guys. Keep on going. I know I'm going to meet some of you guys. I don't think I'll be able to meet all of you going ahead, but especially if you introduce yourselves well. maybe we can meet in person. We'll see. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves. I wish you all the best of luck. And yeah, happy May. It's my birth month, so happy May, you guys. Again, 300 days in Paraguay. I'm gonna hit a year here soon, so yeah, I'll see y'all later. And in the meantime, take care. Peace out.